Okay, we've had a few bits and pieces turn up in the post for the BBC Micro, and we'll swing the camera around and we'll go through those one at a time so you can see what we've got. First up, very importantly, we have two new keyboard switches. Now I only need one, but as I said previously, it's a good idea to have a spare. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the keyboard off, take my lashed up switch out and put one of these in and get the brake key back on, and we'll have a functioning brake key. So that's excellent. Now, in the very first video I did on the BBC Micro, I was talking about the empty sockets on the motherboard and said that they were generally, most of them anyway, were for the disk interface, and we probably weren't going to bother with that. But I've since done some research and found that upgrade kits are still available for the BBC Micro, which include all the chips, which is what this lot is here. This is the disk controller chip, and in fact, this includes a couple of different disk filing system ROMs. It includes the original Acorn one, and then this is the Watford one, which has got I believe it's got an enhanced instruction set in it. So there's more commands with regard to floppy disks. And these are the peripheral chips which go in all those empty sockets that we saw in the first video. So this is not a particularly expensive kit. It comes with a very good instruction set, so that you can, if you don't know what you're doing or you've never done it before, it's very easy to do that. So I thought, right, we'll go for that. And the other reason is that I've been looking at solutions to loading and saving programs, and by far the best, as far as I can tell, is a thing called a Gotek USB floppy emulator, and that's what this little device here is. Now basically what this is, it's a printed circuit board with some electronics on it, and you plug it into the floppy disk port on the BBC Micro, and you plug a USB stick in on the front here, and as far as the BBC Micro is concerned, it thinks it's looking at a floppy disk drive, when in fact it's actually looking at your USB stick. These aren't particularly cheap, but I think it's well worth it because it's a very simple solution from the point of view of loading and saving programs. And whilst you can still get floppy disk drives that are suitable for the BBC Micro, obviously they're old now and they never were that reliable anyway. So this is a much more reliable solution. So we'll get the switch back installed on the BBC motherboard. Which is obviously very important, so we get it back looking what it should do and get rid of that horrible lashed up switch. I'll get the chips installed for the file operating system, and then we'll get the Gotek connected and see if we can get this thing working. Well, all the chips are installed. The Gotek drive is plugged in. It did come with a USB stick which has got loads and loads of disk images on it already, and it's got the configuration file, which is very important when you're using it with an old machine like the BBC. The Gotek can be used with all sorts of different machines, so the configuration file helps you set the thing up to work with whatever you've got it plugged into. The brake key has been repaired, new key in there, and it's time to turn it on. Okay, so let's have a look at the screen first. So you will have noticed that the SPI ROM has disappeared and it now says BBC Computer 32 Acorn DFS. The reason for that is that the ROM sockets on the motherboard are prioritized. Now I put the new Acorn, I've gone for the Acorn DFS to start with, although the Watford one is superior, I believe. I thought we're less likely to run into any problems if we stick with the original Acorn one. So that's what I've got in there at the moment. Now, because I put the Acorn DFS into the next ROM socket along, that's a higher priority socket than the one the SPI ROM is in. So it will default to looking at the Acorn DFS ROM to start with, which is what we want it to do anyway. So that's looking good. I'll come back out again. And I'm going to change the camera angle so you can see the little tiny display that's on the Gotek. Now this is an update from the original Gotex, which just had a 7-segment type display on. This little, I think it's an OLED tiny little OLED is excellent because it shows you exactly all the information you need. Now, that is displaying blank DFS, which is a disk image. Basically, it's just a blank disk image that you can write to and save the files to and all the rest of it. If I turn the rotary encoder, which is this knob here, it will scroll through the files that are on there. If we come out of that, double pressing the rotary encoder, now I can scroll through the different... No, it's still... Right, let's... Right. Bear with me, I haven't really... This is the first time I've used this. Now we're out of that file image, I can scroll through the other images that are on the disk, of which you can see that there are many. There's literally hundreds of images on here. Really amazing selection that it comes with on this stick. So let's go to Elite to start with. And oh, I'll tell you what we will do first before I go any further. Let's come back out again. Right. Just wanted to show you that the brake key now is actually doing something. If I press it, there you go. You saw the screen change, which is just excellent. So I'll do a, and I'll press it again, and it comes back. So our brake key is now doing what it's supposed to do. It is doing a brake. So that's fantastic. So let's come back out again. Difficult getting the lighting right to actually not show up any glare on the screen. Right. So let me come back down onto the display on the Gotek. Okay, so once you've scrolled through to the image on the USB stick that you're interested in this case we're going to go with Elite. To select that image, you just press that once, and that means you've now selected that disk image, and it's not focusing. There we go. So you've now selected that disk image. So I will come back out again and we will look at the screen. Right, so we should be able to see what is in that image now by simply just typing in star and full stop. Oh, try star and full stop, Alan. All right, so it's read it's now looking at the Elite disk image, and that is what we are seeing on the screen. So that's just excellent. It really is good. So what we will do next is I will select an empty, more or less empty disk image, and then I'll type in a small program and we'll save it to the USB stick, and we will then load it back on from the USB stick. So I'm not going to bore you to death by watching me type in a program, so I'll come back in. Okay, so we've got a very, very simple program that has just taken me no significant amount of time to type in whatsoever. He lies. And if we run that, that's what it does. Amazing, isn't it? My commands of BASIC are just absolutely staggering. So that's the program now typed in. Now what we will do is we will look at the blank disk image on the disk, on the USB stick, and it's just saying there's currently one program on that image, which is RST1. So what we'll do is we will now list my program again, which is that, and then we will go save test, and it should have saved it to the floppy disk image. So now we will look at that image again. I'll see what's on there, so then I can actually type in the right command. And now we've got RST1 and test. Excellent. So what I will now do is type new, which completely removes the program that I've just typed in. If we go list, now there's nothing there. So now what I will do is I will go load, test, and then we'll go list, and there it is again. It is loaded my program from the USB stick, and it's all working fine. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. I mean, I can load and save programs as easy as anything now. It's not a problem with that Gotek solution. I think that's I think that was a really good idea. I need to spend some time exploring what's on the USB stick that came with it. But yeah, it's a very simple and elegant solution. Obviously, it's a USB stick, so just sort of stay memory. It's going to be really reliable. But I think that's about it really for the BBC Micro for the moment. If I come up with anything else that I think might be interesting on it, I'll do another video. But I think for now, that'll do it. Hope you've enjoyed the series of videos on the BBC Micro and its resurrection. Thank you as always for watching. Cheers.